Hi everyone. Big groups always make two eyes. This is the proverb I want to discuss with you today. Of course, this proverb has many exceptions. It is not, of course, always true. But this proverb helps players in the range of 8 or 12Q to find the correct direction of play. Usually in Go it's very hard to kill even a weak group, even if this group has not a base. The main problem is that in Go there are almost always more defensive resources than attacking resources. So usually playing a move per turn, it's not sufficient to surround and kill a group. So what's the correct plan? A player usually has to chase groups. You have to chase the groups that your opponent controls, and doing so you build a lot of influence on the board, and when your opponent tries to save the group and sacres the group, you have built in this process a lot of potential territory yourself. So okay, your opponents just saved the group, but he lost the battle for territory. This problem, this situation presented in the Goban is no exception. Please take a look at this white group in the lower right, and now black tries to kill the group. So the main goal of the topic is to try to kill or save this white group. It doesn't matter about counting, about territory or anything. Here the game is more or less won by black by territory, so this game is not interesting in this part. But let's take a look at the white defensive resources. Okay, black commits the game to and tries to surround this group. Of course, there is a plain way to see this. Only if you manage to surround a group, you can kill it. It may look obvious, but in fact it's not. It's very hard to surround a group, but if you manage to do that, usually you may try to think about killing. This move avoid white escaping in the center. Of course, white tries to connect with this group, and now black has to cover. Here, this is an important move that threatens to surround this way. But first of all, as we saw in some videos, in some previous videos, it's better to play some peeps to avoid white having a high potential. So this move is, I believe it's very important, but of course white is not obliged to answer. This move threatens to surround the stone, so this is forced. This is a shape move. Black has to cover, and now the game is and now white is committed to save the group. This group is this part of the board starts to be very big for black. So if white group dies, the victory is completely in the hand of black. If white survives, maybe the game is lost anyway due to territorial reason and thickness reason, as I told you before. You see that if ever white managed to save the group, making two eyes in this area, you can see that it's easy for black to get a territorial advantage. But the main goal is to kill or save the white group, as I told you before. This is a good move because it harnesses and tries to escape, so this is forced. This is an extension, it's forced, otherwise black plays here. And as you can see, In this position, this is another forced move, more or less. Maybe this was an idea, but probably this is the better move. And reaching this position, we can see that more or less white playing some forcing move has already built an eye in this position. So half of his job is done, and black more or less couldn't do anything to avoid this formation for white. So what's the first impression we have in this position? We saw that it's easy for white to build a group and threatens to escape. As you can see, this is an important move for white. This is an important resource for white. For example, in this position, if black is forced to make something forcing, this threatens to kill this eye. So this move may be somewhat gambling move. It's better off playing something like this, or even like something like this. The main problem is that we see that this move is not very strong, because even if it has an important purpose, you can see that this move threatens too many cutting points for black. It's almost impossible to stop the avalanche that white is about to throw. This is of course the first move you can think about, but as you can see, there are many cutting points like this, and the stone is cut off apart, and this eye-shape potential is becoming greater and greater as the move passed by. So this is a move that has a defensive purpose, but is more than sufficient to keep the group alive. So what to do with black? This is a threat, of course. White may try to surround here. Of course, it's not one game, because black can always try to cut off white from connecting with this shape, but still there is a hard task for black to cut off all the possibilities. This is another one. White tries to enlarge his eye potential, and in this local tries to build another eye. So this move is more or less forced. White stops, and as you can see, again the proverb starts to get more real. This is another shape for an eye, and as you can see, white played some simple moves and has just built the at least 1.5 eye. As you can see, big groups almost always make 2 eyes. This is forced, of course, and now 2 possibilities for white. This is the move that was played in the game, but is more than sufficient. As you can see, this stone, and this position starts to be rather thin. So this move was again an important alternative. This was strong. This would be a stronger move. This was forced, and this is another eye potential, not easy to cover. And approaching the side, you can find some other eyes potential. Okay, in this position, black has to block here, otherwise the 2 eyes are a fact. And this is a connecting move that has a lot of threats. This was also a better move, but still white is completely safe here. Okay, black avoids this surrounding move, but as you can see, white resources are very much powerful. This threatens to build another eye, so this move is forced, and this is the move I discussed with you before. Black is almost forced to do this kind of block, and as you can see, eyes potential may be more clear here. Black has almost always a force move, and this is usually bad thing for black. As you can see, another eye potential, very hard to kill, and more or less this move is again forced, otherwise white secures the second eye. This is a very good move, threatens to surround, and this is a bad move for black, since this move is more than sufficient, as you can see, for making some threats. As you can see, it's not important to find out if ever white or black tries or not tries to kill the other, or to kill or save, of course. But as you can see, this move was almost always forced for black, and now white has very high eyes potential. Okay, there may be some problems, but black has almost always one move to cover. This is forced, of course, but as you can see here, black has to play like this, and now as you can see, there are a lot of potential here. Okay, maybe white could not make an eye here. Okay, that's good, but it's not easy for black to cover all the threats. Suppose black carelessly play something like this, of course, and this is a dead shape for black. So let's take our attention at top level. This move, okay, of course, is not the deal, but this is another important move. In this position, this is the move that saves. White plays like this, but this also was a very hard move to counter. This move is bad because it makes some cutting possibilities, okay, but black has a lot of potential of connecting, as you can see here. So this position, okay, is one for white, for black. In this position, okay, as I told you that this move saved the group, as a proof that almost always big groups make two eyes. This was, of course, the forced move. This is a nice clamp, but this is hard to find for an intermediate player or a 11q player, but it's a strong move. This is forced. Okay, Atari, of course, you are forced to capture, and now this move is the Tsuji of the position. What to do with black? The first variation, which is the best one, is a move that wins the game, since this territory is black territory. This shape is very strong, and this is black territory. White only has this corner and maybe something like this, but the main points are for black. But still, the game is about save or not save the group. This is the main variation. White, as you can see, builds the second eye, and this is completely alive. Okay, in this situation you may say that this is killing move, but it's not. In fact, this is a very interesting move. Black has to capture. This is double Atari, so black has to connect. This is very bad shape, and white connects here. This is a false eye, this is not a real eye, but as you can see, this kind of this group of stone is very much weak, so anytime white can and it's rather thin, so white has an easy game to torture them. What to do with black? Black has to play move like this, otherwise if plays elsewhere, white immediately play this move and either build an eye here or here. So this is a practically forced move. This is squeeze move, and then this is an important Atari. What to do with black? This is forced, of course. This is the separating move. You have to save the stones, otherwise white squeezes and build an eye in this position. So black has to play the move like this. Of course, Atari down, and then this is Miai from this capture and this group. So okay, white group is safe now. I built two eyes. It doesn't matter if this is the correct variation. Of course, it's checked with computer, so it is correct. But you may say that there are other variations or something like this. That's not the goal of the video. The goal is to understand that it's very easy for big groups to find something in the surrounding stone, some leak